Okay, hello everyone and welcome to the second installment of the Guayusa experiment. So today is going to be on a different camera because my main phone is in repairs and this is just some old camera I got lying around, so I hope no one has trouble with that. I think the quality is still pretty alright, it's still 1080p or something, it's not a Stone Age camera, but it's pretty old. It's been 2 weeks since I filmed last video and that got filmed a couple of days after I took Guayusa and that got uploaded a couple of days after I filmed the video.
What?
How could he?
Impossible.
So inconsistent.
Lazy ass.
So I have taken it in total 5 times now and I think I can report on it pretty well, on the effects I got, the benefits and well, the drawbacks. Okay, so in this video there's no need to add all the disclaimers, you should have all seen it in the last video, and this video does not need to be 15 minutes.
Oh my god!
Okay, so to list off the different days and its effects, I'll start with the second day. The second day I took it, the effects were much more subtle. I did notice an average increase of productivity when I was studying, but the main increase in productivity was that I had less distractions, or less need to give in to my distractions, like my brain just give a quick signal like,
You've been studying for a while now, shouldn't you want a break? Shouldn't you want to play a game?
and then some more powerful or demanding part of my brain responded with,
Oh hell no, it's study time.
so I would say that was pretty beneficial and I got a lot of study done that day. And then I think the drawbacks that day were less noticeable than the first day of being less socially interactable and less empathic. I was still less empathic and socially interactable, but I was still able to. It was just that when I was doing it, a strong part of my brain was like, okay, try to finish this off and then get to studying again. So I would say it's still not recommended for me to take it in a social setting, which I won't. I will just take it to study. But it is very beneficial for studying, so I think the results for the last experiment still stand. At least they stand on the second day. But now to move on to the third and fourth day. I grouped them together because they were quite similar, because they basically had the same effects. I would say on average I was more productive, so it was still beneficial to take it, and also the same effects with the empathy, less empathies. I was still able to be empathic, but my brain was just always, if I wasn't studying, my brain wanted to get going studying. And maybe this is also partially because whenever I drink it, it's my intention, I say to my brain, I will study this day, and of course because it increases the strength of the signals in my brain, or whatever caffeine does and however caffeine does, it just makes me do what I say I'll do, which is, I think, beneficial. But also, if you later decide you want to do something else, like, I don't know, you want to go to a party and talk to some people, at least for me, it wouldn't work like that. Whatever intention I set at the beginning, I have throughout the entire day, or well, throughout the entire day that I notice any effects, which is mostly if I take it at like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I notice them until it is like 6, maybe 7 o'clock. So it does last the most of the day, most of the important part of the day anyway. The fourth day, some distractions did come through. For that you can check out last video. And I wouldn't say that the distraction was less productive, since I still literally produced something you can go check out. But it would have been wiser to, of course, spend the time on studying, because I can edit the video in the evening when the sun's down, when I can't study as productively anyways. But I did not. I edited throughout the day because I just really wanted to, which I think is okay, but it's just something like, it doesn't just full focus me on studying like it did the other days. So the fourth day I think I was as productive as a normal day, just on average. When I was studying I still memorized everything easier. I just learned it easier, learned it better. Okay, so the last time I drank it, it is the easiest to remember since it was yesterday, and I would say the effects were different than all the other days. I didn't really have a boost of go get studying when I wasn't studying or something, so I still gave in to some distractions like, hey, let's play a game. I started playing a game. So it wasn't just a full day of studying like I set it out to be. But when I was studying, I still noticed the things I always say, improved memory of what I've learned before, and an ability to apply it to what I'm learning now, so that I can learn it quickly, more efficiently, and memorize it better, so I can just get on with the exercises right away. So I would still say that it was beneficial to take it and that it made my day more productive, although not in time spent on studying. I spent the same time I spent on studying on the average day, so that it really didn't increase. It didn't eliminate my distractions like it usually does. A contributing factor may have been that I ate some sugar throughout the day. I know that sugar really fucks up with my concentration. Only time will tell. Okay, so then the last element and effect I noticed throughout multiple days, although it was really subtle since, well, most of the time I'm just studying and not really fantasizing or dreaming about anything, but when I was, like when I was waiting for the train or something, then I noticed a decreased ability to visualize and imagine things in my mind. All I could imagine really, or like all the structures I could build in my mind were based upon mathematics, which I was studying, of course, and just some basic geometry. Normally, when I'm waiting for the train, I just build a world in my mind, create a beautiful tree, climb that tree, look what's in the tree, grab an apple, stuff like that. Couldn't do it. It's not like my brain was less strong in its imagination. I could still imagine the most realistic geometrical pattern of what I was studying. I have no idea to say it in Dutch, but like imagine you have like a square, and I have to note all the possible points on the square. There's an entire calculation so that you can calculate all the possible points in that square. If it's a 3D square, like the square is still 2D, but in a 3D plane, like bent, there's a z-axis, doesn't matter. Anyways, that was part of what I could really vividly imagine, because of course I needed it to study. So it doesn't really decrease brain power. If anything, it increases brain power, raw power, but decreases imagination. So yeah, or well, decreases the wide spectrum of imagination, just full boosts one particular part. Doesn't matter, that's an effect I noticed, and since I'm gonna use it to study anyway, and normally I shouldn't be bored too much too long, it really isn't a problem. But it could be, a problem if I took it on a day that I had nothing to do that entire day. I was just riding on the train. Then it would be a big bummer, because then I could not, build my worlds, imagine my things, and that would be very sad. Okay, so now to draw a conclusion for the 5 times I have already taken it, I would say that it was a big success for productivity, and I will definitely continue taking it on days that I spend studying, and it is not so much a success on socially and empathical situations. How do I say it? In situations where I must interact with people socially and empathically. I did not expect it to be like that, but it clearly is not like that for me. Some people say it can really help with empathy and stuff, but not for me. Now, I do think this video will conclude the digital documentation of the experiment, since for the rest I'll just try things out, see if the effects continue, but if I do notice some significant changes, I will make a video about it. If I notice that the effects no longer work, or maybe if I notice that the effect starts to double if you leave X amount of time between each session, then I'll also make a video about that. But no more gradual updates, because, well, what am I gonna do, film every 2 weeks? Yeah, I got more increased productivity. Technically my productivity doesn't increase on average if it increases every 2 weeks, or well, if it's the same every 2 weeks, it's increased compared to before I took it, but doesn't really matter. So yeah, I'm not gonna make videos about that anymore, only if I notice any significant effects. I'll see everyone in the next video, which is probably me spinning my staff again. I hope, at least, because I hope it gets more sunny. If you see the lighting in this room, then you can already guess that my lamp's on in the middle of the day. Well, it's morning, but still it should be more sunnier. So yeah, see y'all.